All right, who could have predicted Andrew Tate versus Jake Paul? They are definitely not on the pulse of the cultural situation. These guys know nothing about what people want to see.
Yeah. They probably have already chosen their fall guy. This is just a one big media ploy to make millions of dollars.
Oh no, these guys know exactly what they're doing, and it's going to work. I mean, they understand the numbers, they understand where the cultural attention is, and it'll be a great fight. We were just talking about it on a walk, Mantone and I, and you know, are these real fights? I think they're 100% real fights. I think that it's going to be interesting. So, what do you guys think?
What do you think? I definitely think they're real fights. Do you guys think, is this a net positive for fighting, for boxing, for MMA, for all of it? Like having the YouTube influencers like Logan and Jake come in and kind of create this interest, is this a good thing for the sport?
Well, at first Logan just seemed like he was going to be some like bad publicity influencer coming in, but as Rogan has stated, he's a real fighter now.
Are you talking about Logan or Jake?
Logan.
Well,
sorry, Jake.
This is Jake.
Jake, the guy in the video.
Well, they're both. I mean, Jake is doing more like the wrestling, and he's like doing huge stadiums, but like actual fake wrestling, but it's hilarious. And so they're kind of taking these unique paths, but these guys are combining savvy media awareness with serious fitness. And so I think like the message that they're sending to the world it's largely positive. I mean, they're healthy, they're in shape, they're dominating social media, they're having fun with it. Like, they're not being like lazy gamers sitting around doing nothing. Not that, there's anything wrong with gaming, but I think that ultimately they're very driven, motivated guys. So
people love these celebrity matches. Do you guys remember when Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah.
That was people love these matches, and they just absolutely clear house.
Yeah. What's interesting is like the embedding of social media. Like it's interesting seeing the evolution of fighting and how it's going to merge with influencers. That to me, it's kind of like speaks to this is 2022. So
I think it's sort of unique to fighting too, because like with other sports like professional hockey, for instance, like this would not be possible. It's only like a fight. I'm not trying to take anything away from fighting. It's incredible, or boxing specifically. It's incredibly difficult, and these guys are all stars, and it's a rare situation that anyone could even make this happen. But like, Jake Paul was not boxing even a few years ago, and he was still like probably a great athlete. But like, you could never do this with hockey. There's just no possible way that someone could learn and become a professional hockey player like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, could you though? Because could you have somebody that played in the under leagues and the minor leagues and was also became a huge social media celebrity? Would a hockey team be interested in picking that person up? It kind of lends.
But Jake, as far as I know, wasn't a like amateur boxer, was he? For like a long time.
I'm not sure. I mean,
Jack would know the answer to this. Like, Jack, is there any case?
I don't know the answer to this.
You should know. I mean, I'm just saying, is there
to hockey?
Is there no, not just hockey? Like, is there any example of like a celebrity influencer like deciding that they want to be in the NFL, NHL, any other sport other than boxing or fighting?
I think one sport that's sort of done it, not quite like that, but is golf. Maybe they do those like the match, and it's like Tom Brady playing golf. Like that's not his sport, but he does something similar where they like promote it like this. They get big ratings, and he's not a golfer. Right. Granted, he's pretty good, but I think golf's another sport where if you're reasonably good, you can, and you're famous, you can like get people interested. Maybe.
Right. Can you become a champion? I think it's kind of more to what Bill's asking. Like,
but I don't think Logan can either, or Jake. Like, who's the best guy he's fought? I don't even know the answer, so I won't, and I love what he's doing mostly, so I'm not going to give him a hard time. But like, who is he? Who's the best guy he's fought?
Who fought Mayweather? Was that Logan or Jake?
Neither of them have fought Mayweather.
No, they didn't fight Mayweather.
Wait, who was the celebrity that
That's
fought
what I
Mayweather?
mean. Like one of them.
That was Conor McGregor.
That was
McGregor. Oh, right.
Well,
And so
McGregor wasn't even
a legitimate fighter. Yeah.
But he was a fighter. He wasn't a boxer. So even that was
Yeah, no, Logan Paul did fight Mayweather though.
Did he?
Yeah, and he won.
No.
Didn't he?
Floyd Mayweather has never been defeated. He would never lose to Paul, dude. He's like the best one ever.
Okay, well, you guys keep talking. I'm going to fact check us.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, that's what I'd like to see, though. Like that'd be good.
If he could beat Mayweather, he would literally go down in boxing history. Money Mayweather's never been beat.
Or like Pacquiao, like go against Pacquiao.
But they're in a different weight class.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But
I mean, maybe. Like, yeah, so the true test would be if someone smaller could actually go up against Mayweather or Pacquiao, who is, kind of out of nowhere.
Sorry. I just fact check us. Yeah, no, Floyd, they did fight June 7th, 2021, but that's what it was. Mayweather won by 78-74 on the score. That's what it was. But a lot of people were saying like Logan actually won, but it was the decision went to Mayweather.
Oh, they did fight?
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Logan Paul.
Yeah, Logan Paul, not Jake. Right.
Yeah, Logan fought
Mayweather.
What's that?
All right. No, I just said touche. All right, let's go to the next thing.
Yeah. Cool.
I can't believe it.
So yeah, I found this one today. There's a bunch of these stories. Saturday Night Live. They're saying the writers for Saturday Night Live are boycotting Dave Chappelle's upcoming appearance on Saturday Night Live, and so we kind of looked at it before our podcast today, but to me it just looks like a fake story. Like there's one Instagram story by one of the writers that didn't even really reference Dave. None of the actors are boycotting. They were in the writing room. Just
Can
seems
you
like
go to the search results to see how much coverage this has and how many fake stories are being written. Let's DuckDuckGo it.
Let's DuckDuckGo it. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we need the raw results. We don't need Google shenanigans.
All right.
It's filtered by news.
Yeah.
Search it first.
Yeah, first I got SNL.
All right. So for context, I mean, it seems like there's a couple of writers who are complaining, but no actors have, and so what do we have?
MSN, Hollywood Life, LGBTQ Nation. I know page 6 is the one I found. I also Daily Beast.
So even the Daily Beast is saying some, it's like a little bit dumbed down. So it seems like a nothing burger, and there's probably some disgruntled writers, but I mean, look, anyone who actually even watched Chappelle's last special, which there was all of the outcry about the trans issues, would know. Most people, I think, who are complaining about it didn't even watch it. The whole point of the story he told in the special was that he had a transgender opener who was actually working for him, that he supported, that he wanted to give a shot, and that she committed suicide after. So it was like he how is that transphobic? He literally had her open for him, was working with her, supported her, and like I'm pretty sure that she was like open to jokes. Like it just, you know, I just don't see how that possibly got turned into being transphobic when the whole point of the story was the tragedy of the suicide.
What was even more tragic about it is that potentially part of the reason that they committed suicide was because they got so much heat and backlash from the trans community for opening up for Dave. Like the trans community wouldn't accept this trans person because they were opening up for Dave. And they were getting a lot of hate, like violent hate mail and emails is what he was saying. And that might have contributed to the person committing suicide, which is just so incredibly sad. This is like when cancel culture becomes really ugly.
Yeah.
Because Dave probably did more for trans people in that moment of allowing a trans person to open up for literally the GOAT of comedy, the biggest comedian in the world, as a trans person opening up for them. That's giving opportunity for the trans community that probably none of these people that are complaining about him have ever even accomplished for the trans community themselves, you know? And so just because you can do anything great in the world with your actual actions, but if you say a couple of jokes that offend people, you're now, you know, you're a monster.
Yep.
Now, I hope this culture really does implode in upon itself because it's so sad and scary.
I really hope I'll watch this SNL. I haven't watched SNL in like years, but I'll watch it, and I hope they lean into it. They need to. That's what people want to see. That's what, you know, clears the air, lets people have fun, and you know, I just imagine like making it to the SNL writers room, which is a hard thing to do, and just having this whole idea of, you know, this is comedy and that's not comedy, and you know, that's not acceptable comedy. I mean,
it's like, it's sad in this case too, because he was such an easy target that the outrage mob just kind of like, it was Dave Chappelle who's talking about trans issues, making trans jokes. So he was an easy target to kind of gang up on. And that's why I didn't like really seeing the story, because I have my own, you know, Saturday Night Live has lost their way, in my opinion. Like they, you know, they're doing very PC comedy. They're not willing to hit hard. And you know, having him come on, that's an olive branch. It's really good. So like seeing fake stories trying to drum up outrage is just as bad as the outrage mob when they were targeting.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at, I mean, even if we don't need to go into them, but if you read some of these articles, they're just like searching through tweets on Twitter trying to find people
random,
like, okay, a couple writers had an issue with it. Like, that's not a story, and so it's very clear manufacturing of a narrative that you can see with this coverage. So I think that's interesting in itself. I mean, SNL will randomly they'll hit really hard. Like I remember before Louis got right, it was kind of right before he went down for his whole scandal, but he did this like dark monologue about like incest or like it was something with like kids or like it was this pedophile joke that was just completely, everybody was like, what? And he pulled it off. And it was kind of like the peak joke before his fall. And now he's rising back up, which I think is great. I really want to see that new movie of his that he did with Joe List. It's called 4th of July.
4th of July, yeah.
It's an independent film that I keep trying to tell myself I'm going to watch it. But anyway, all right, cool. So let's.
Who do you guys consider the GOAT comedian? I know Manton said it could be Chappelle, but who do you guys consider?
Oh, the GOAT. Oh,
Good, live or dead. Just GOAT.
I mean, just to talk about Chappelle a little bit on that, I think he certainly is a GOAT. There's a certain character that he does and some of his jokes and like that kills me. And and it totally is peak stand up. I will say some of his other stuff is a little bit like lecture-y, and it becomes more of like a speech, as opposed to like traditional stand-up. But that's totally fine. Like, I think that he deserves leeway to explore and experiment, and like even Bill Hicks, who I think is one of the greatest of all time, would do that a lot. And so, and it would not necessarily be funny. Like, you're just listening to a guy's crazy perspective on the world, and then, you know, occasionally it would be totally hilarious. But like all of Bill Hicks's specials, or, you know, stand-up hours that you watch, you're not laughing your ass off the whole time, but that doesn't make it necessarily less great.
Yeah.
Who's your goat, Jack?
Yeah.
I'd say I was a huge Norm Macdonald fan. I think he was one of my goats. I'm you know, just R.I.P. That guy had the driest delivery. He was funny by not being funny somehow. Like, he just like cracked the code.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah, the most humble too. Did you watch his?
No, I've been meaning to watch it. I need to watch that one.
Yeah.
Was that the thing he made like at the end?
Yeah, he just like filmed himself.
Yeah,
and like
that guy was so funny.
This, like, mock audience.
And he got started on SNL back in the day. You know, he had some legendary SNL.
He was the Weekend Update. I mean, he was probably the best Weekend Update host of all time.
And everyone hated him when he was doing it. You know,
like, he was hilarious on that sitcom, The Norm Show or whatever. That shit was hilarious.
Well, I think the best class of SNL was Farley, Sandler, Norm, Spade, like Rock, all those guys, and they all got fired.
It's been downhill. It's been downhill ever since then, man.
I know. I know.
You know who's a goat is Don Rickles. Don Rickles was he's my goat, actually.
I mean, I judge it based on like, I think the key metric for, you know, your personal greatest comic should be the comic that has made you cry laughing the most.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that is a tie between Louis and Sebastian, actually. Sebastian.
Really?
When I saw, I'm telling you, I saw Sebastian live at the Comedy Store with Ali, like, you know, a couple years ago. Dude, he was talking about like these homeless people like coming out of their camp, like to the street corner, like having their coffee, like sitting on their like fold out chair, just like being so cocky, like on the corner. And he was just like, an alley next to me, it was like, that's probably the most insane comedy. Like, the whole audience was killing, or he was killing so hard. Everybody was just erupting. And then it was really funny because Chris D'Elia came on right after, who is very funny, and I like him a lot. But he just had to say it. He was like, I'm not even gonna do this. Like, this isn't. It's not worth it. Like, so he just did crowd work for like 10 minutes, but yeah, it was amazing. But Louis' specials are just the best.
Yeah, he absolutely. Yeah, I'd say classically the GOAT for me would be Carlin. More modern, I think it's a tie between Louis and Dimitri Martin for me, or even Nick Swardson. Like, dude, Nick Swardson gets overlooked a lot, but that guy's hilarious.
So funny.
I have definitely cried laughing. There's this one Dimitri special that, dude, his like understanding of language and like making it so fucking silly, and like turning language around, or like street signs or random stuff that you see, and it's so funny. He's a genius, dude.
Yeah, he's like, I saw him in Milwaukee he did the white pad thing. You know, he does his white pad bit. It was just killed. Like, it's so good. It's so simple, you know.
Right. Yeah, his white pad. And he does this crazy writing where I want to say, I forget what it's called. It's like this weird thing with syllables, or like he uses the same letters. I don't know. He's like a genius writer with with what he can do. there's this one. I'll bring it up next podcast. I'll look for it. But it's like a feat of writing that he did, where you use the same letters in different directions. I forget exactly what it was, but all right, cool. So let's keep going.
Cool. So we have up next is the Supermind. Bill, you want to say anything before I play this? So this was sent to ZUBY.
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, we launched a new feature on Minds where you can send creators offers to reply to you, and of cash or tokens. And so ZUBY was sent one that says, "Can you share a rhyme that represents these mad times?" And here's his response.
It's a mad world. Nobody makes it out alive, and no one truly knows what's going to happen when you die. It's a mad world. So keep the happiness alive, but you know the same things that make you happy make you cry. It's a mad world. I'm only in it for a visit, so while I'm sitting here, I'm going to push it to the limit. It's a mad world. We're only living because we're in it. It's a mad world. Just a mad world.
That's great.
Nice. That actually, I wonder if he had that already or came up with that based on the question.
That's a good question.
Yeah, because that was a perfectly fitting response. That hit me hard when he was talking about life and death. Shit, I shared up a little bit there.
Yeah, but it's a great feature. Send Superminds to your favorite creators. You can get custom content like this. You can get, answers to what's happening, whatever's happening that they're interested in, and I'm working on bringing on some of the creators from Minds onto the podcast so we can have these discussions too and pick their brain here. And yeah, it's a really, really cool, unique feature that no one else has right now. So
yeah, anyone who likes ZUBY, other people that on Minds, you can just go to their page now. There's a big Supermind button on top, and you can engage with them and get in the conversation. So yeah, anything else you guys want to go over?
Good.
All good.
All right, rock on. Minds.com. Hit us up.
Thanks, everyone.